and a very warm welcome to Fireside Fables. If you're seeking stories that weave tranquility into your night, guiding you gently towards a restful slumber, you've found the right place. Here, we embark on journeys not just to distant lands and times, but into the heart of peace and calm itself. So, make yourself comfortable, let the day's worries melt away, and join me by the fireside. Together, we'll explore tales designed to soothe your mind, ease your soul, and escort you into the most peaceful sleep. Tonight, let the flickering flames and the soft cadence of our stories be your sanctuary. As twilight descended upon the Scottish coast, a gentle mist rolled in from the sea, enveloping the shoreline in a soft, ethereal embrace. The small fishing village of Dunbray, nestled against the rugged cliffs, its stone cottages standing sentinel over the tranquil bay below. The day's activities had wound down, and a peaceful hush settled over the landscape. The rhythmic lapping of waves against the shore provided a soothing backdrop to the evening. Seabirds, having completed their daily foraging, glided silently back to their nests, their calls growing fewer and farther between as night approached. The lighthouse at the point began its nightly vigil, its beams sweeping across the waters in a steady, comforting rhythm. Along the curved shoreline, smooth pebbles glistened with the retreating tide, their surfaces still damp and gleaming in the fading light. Strands of seaweed, left behind by the ebbing waters, formed delicate patterns on the sand, like nature's own lacework spread across the beach. The village itself was quieting for the night. Warm, golden light spilled from cottage windows, and wisps of smoke curled from chimneys, carrying the faint scent of peat fires. In the distance, the silhouette of fishing boats bobbed gently at their moorings, their work done for the day. As the last remnants of daylight faded, the stars began to emerge, twinkling softly through breaks in the mist. The moon, a pale crescent, cast a subtle glow over the scene, turning the mist into a shimmering veil that draped over the landscape. It was in this moment of transition, when day yielded to night, that something magical stirred in the waters of the bay. A ripple, almost imperceptible, disturbed the calm surface. Then, with graceful deliberation, a sleek head emerged from the waves. Water cascaded off smooth, dark fur as the figure rose further, revealing the form of a seal. Yet, as it drew closer to the shore, a transformation began to take place. The seal's features softened and changed, morphing into those of a woman with long, dark hair that flowed down her back like seaweed. This was Eileen, the Selkie of Dunbray Bay. Eileen stepped onto the wet sand, water droplets glistening on her skin in the moonlight. She paused, taking in the peaceful scene before her. The Selkie's presence seemed to enhance the tranquility of the evening, as if the very air recognized her as a part of this twilight realm. With each step she took along the shore, Eileen left no footprints, moving as silently and ethereally as the mist that surrounded her. She made her way to a cluster of rocks worn smooth by countless tides and settled herself comfortably. As Eileen gazed out over the calm waters, the night seemed to hold its breath in anticipation. The gentle lapping of waves against the shore continued its soothing rhythm, a natural lullaby that set the stage for the Selkie's nightly ritual. The misty shore of Dunbray, bathed in moonlight and wrapped in a blanket of sea mist, waited in peaceful silence for Aileen's song to begin. The stage was set for a night of tranquility, guided by the Selkie's melodious voice and the timeless rhythms of the sea. As the night settled fully over Dunbray Bay, Eileen the Selkie sat serenely upon her chosen rock, her form silhouetted against the misty backdrop. The moonlight caressed her features, revealing a face of timeless beauty, neither young nor old, but carrying the wisdom of countless tides. With deliberate grace, Aileen reached for the sealskin that lay beside her. This magical pelt, shimmering with an otherworldly iridescence, was the source of her transformative power. She ran her fingers gently over its sleek surface, feeling the connection to her oceanic nature. With tender care, she folded the skin and placed it safely in a hidden crevice among the rocks, ensuring it would be protected until she needed it once more. Eileen's long, dark hair flowed around her shoulders, adorned with small shells and sea glass that clinked softly with her movements. Her eyes, deep and dark as the ocean depths, reflected the starlight above, twinkling with an inner light of their own. Her skin bore the soft sheen of pearl, a testament to her dual nature as a creature of both land and sea. As she settled more comfortably on her perch, Aileen began her nightly ritual. She closed her eyes and took a deep, centering breath, drawing in the salty air that was so familiar to her. With each inhale and exhale, she attuned herself to the rhythm of the waves, allowing the natural cadence of the sea to flow through her being. Eileen's connection to the ocean was profound and ancient. She felt the pull of the tides in her blood, the whisper of the currents in her thoughts. The vast expanse of the sea was her true home, a realm of endless wonder and mystery that she knew intimately. Yet, she was drawn to the shore each night, compelled by an age-old duty and a deep-seated love for this liminal space where two worlds met. As a Selkie, Eileen was a guardian of the sea and its creatures. She understood the language of whales and the dance of the dolphins. The smallest fish and the mightiest leviathans were all known to her, and she watched over them with a loving, protective spirit. Her nightly vigil on the shore was not just for the benefit of humans, but for all the beings that called the ocean their home. Eileen's gaze drifted over the peaceful bay, taking in the gentle undulation of the waves and the distant glimmer of the lighthouse beam. Here, on the edge of land and sea, she was most herself, neither fully human nor fully seal, but a magical being bridging both worlds. The Selkie's presence seemed to enhance the tranquility of the night. The mist curled around her in gentle eddies, as if drawn to her calming aura. Even the usual night sounds of the shore, the soft cries of nocturnal birds and the rustle of small creatures, seemed muted and peaceful in her company. As the night deepened, Aileen prepared herself for her most important task. Her voice, when she would finally let it rise in song, had the power to soothe the wildest storms and guide lost souls to safety. It was a gift she had honed over centuries, a melody that carried the essence of peace itself. But for now, Eileen sat in serene silence, her very presence a balm to the world around her. She was in no hurry, for time moved differently for one such as her. And as the moon continued its arc across the sky, Eileen the Selkie remained a steadfast guardian, a figure of myth and legend come to life in the misty shores of Dunbrae Bay. The gentle lapping of waves against the shore continued its soothing rhythm, nature's own lullaby, accompanying the Selkie's silent vigil. All was calm, all was peaceful, as Aileen prepared to weave her own special magic into the tapestry of the night. As the night deepened and the stars twinkled more brightly in the vast expanse above, Eileen the Selkie felt the moment arrive. With a gentle inhale, she prepared to begin her nightly serenade to the sea and all its inhabitants. Eileen's lips parted, and the first soft notes of her song drifted out across the water. Her voice, clear and pure as a mountain stream, began low and gentle, almost imperceptible, against the background noise of lapping waves and distant seabirds. Gradually, it grew in strength and beauty, weaving a tapestry of sound that seemed to embrace the entire bay. The melody was ancient, older than the stones beneath her feet, yet ever changing like the tides themselves. It spoke of deep oceanic trenches and sun-dappled shallows, of playful dolphins and gentle giants of the deep. Within its notes lay the whisper of sea breezes and the rumble of distant storms, all tempered by an overarching sense of peace and tranquility. As Eileen's song flowed forth, a noticeable change came over the bay. The already calm waters seemed to still even further, the small waves smoothing out as if in reverence to her voice. The mist, which had been drifting aimlessly, now moved with purpose, swirling in graceful patterns that matched the cadence of her song. The effect of the Selkie's lullaby extended beyond the water. Along the shoreline, the night creatures paused in their activities, entranced by the beautiful melody. Seabirds settled more comfortably in their nests, their usual calls silenced as they listened. Even the trees on the nearby cliffs seemed to lean in, their leaves rustling softly, in harmony with Eileen's voice. In the village of Dunbrae, though the inhabitants were too far to hear the song clearly, its influence was still felt. Those who were still awake found themselves yawning, a peaceful drowsiness settling over them. Children who had been restless in their beds suddenly fell into deep, contented slumbers, their dreams filled with images of gentle seas and moonlit waters. Back on the shore, Eileen's song continued, her voice rising and falling like the tides she so loved. Her dark eyes, reflecting the starlight, were half closed in concentration as she poured her heart into the melody. Her long hair swayed gently in the sea breeze, adding a visual rhythm to match her auditory one. As the song progressed, it seemed to take on a life of its own. Faint wisps of light, like bioluminescent sea creatures, appeared to dance around Eileen, responding to the magic in her voice. These lights twirled and swayed, creating intricate patterns in the air before gently floating out over the water, spreading her song's influence even further into the bay. The Selkie's lullaby spoke not just to the physical world, but seemed to touch something deeper, the very spirit of the ocean itself. It was a song of comfort and reassurance, a reminder of the eternal nature of the sea and its constancy amid the ever-changing world. Time seemed to lose all meaning as Aileen sang. The moon continued its slow journey across the sky, its soft light mingling with the ethereal glow that surrounded the Selkie. The stars wheeled overhead, bearing witness to this nightly ritual that had played out countless times over the centuries. And still, Eileen's song went on, unwavering and beautiful. As the night wore on, the Selkie's voice remained strong and clear, her melody a constant, soothing presence in the darkness. The entire bay seemed to breathe in time with her song, creating a profound sense of harmony and tranquility that touched everything within its reach. In this moment, under the canopy of stars and wrapped in the embrace of Aileen's lullaby, the world seemed a kinder, gentler place. It was a moment of perfect peace, a respite from the cares of the waking world, cradled in the timeless magic of the Selkie's song. As Eileen's song flowed through the night, her thoughts turned to her role as a guardian of the sea. Her melody, while soothing to human ears, carried messages and comfort to the myriad creatures that called the ocean their home. In her mind's eye, she could see the effect of her song rippling out through the waters, touching all manner of sea life. Beneath the calm surface of the bay, a pod of dolphins stirred. They had been resting, floating serenely in the sheltered waters. But now they roused themselves, their sensitive hearing picking up the Selkie's song. With graceful movements, they began to swim in lazy circles, their own clicks and whistles harmonizing with Aileen's melody in a beautiful duet of land and sea. Further out, where the depths grew darker, a massive form glided slowly through the water. An ancient whale, scarred and wise with age, lifted its head toward the surface, drawn by the familiar notes. Though too deep to breach, the whale added its own sonorous call to Eileen's song. The low, resonant tones vibrating through the water. Closer to shore, in the rocky shallows, crabs paused in their nightly scavenging, their pincers stilling as if to better listen. Schools of small fish, silver scales glinting in the moonlight, swam in mesmerizing patterns, swirling and dipping in time with the melody. Eileen's song spoke to them all, her voice a thread connecting every living thing in the sea. To the dolphins, it spoke of joy and play, encouraging their acrobatic leaps in the moonlight. To the ancient whale, it brought comfort and memories of migrations long past. For the smaller creatures, it was a lullaby, easing them into restful slumber in their coral beds and rocky nooks. As she sang, Aileen felt the response of the sea life, their energy joining with hers in a beautiful symbiosis. She was their voice on the shore, their advocate and protector. In turn, they were her family. Her song took on subtle changes, adapting to the needs of the sea creatures. For a moment, it grew more energetic, a joyful call that inspired a group of seals to join her on the shore. They flopped onto the beach, a respectful distance away, their dark eyes watching her with clear intelligence and affection. Aileen acknowledged them with a nod, her voice softening again as she continued her melody. As the night wore on, Aileen's song turned to matters of protection. Her voice took on a hint of warning. alerting the sea creatures to areas of danger, places where the currents ran treacherous or where human activity might pose a threat. This was part of her duty as a guardian, to guide and protect, to maintain the delicate balance between the world above and the world below. In the deepest parts of the ocean, beyond the reach of moonlight, even the fearsome creatures of the abyss felt the touch of Aileen's song. Her melody reached them as a faint vibration, a reassuring presence that spoke of the vastness and wonder of their watery world. Throughout it all, Aileen remained on her rocky perch, her voice unwavering, her eyes reflecting the starlight, saw beyond the physical realm. She saw the intricate web of life that pulsed beneath the waves, each creature playing its part in the grand symphony of the sea. And she saw her own place in that web, not above or separate, but intricately connected to every living thing in the ocean. As her song continued, a sense of deep peace settled over the bay. The sea creatures, comforted and guided by her voice, went about their nightly routines with a sense of security and belonging. From the smallest plankton to the largest whale, all were under Aileen's gentle, watchful care. The night deepened, the moon climbing higher in the sky, and still Aileen sang on. She was the guardian of the sea, the protector of its creatures, and her nightly vigil was a testament to the enduring bond between the Selkie and the ocean. She called home. In this moment, as her song wove its spell over the waters, Aileen felt a profound sense of purpose and belonging. This was her role, her calling, to be the voice of the sea, the bridge between two worlds, forever singing her song of protection, guidance, and love for all the ocean's children. As the night wore on, and Aileen's melodious voice continued to soothe the bay, a change came over the misty air. The Selkie's keen senses, attuned to the slightest shifts in her environment, detected a distant disturbance. Her song paused for a moment as she tilted her head, listening intently to the whispers carried on the sea breeze. Far out beyond the sheltered waters of the bay, barely visible through the thick fog, a ship was struggling. Its outline was hazy, a dark shadow against the gray mist, but Aileen could sense its presence. The vessel pitched and rolled, caught in a pocket of turbulent waters that defied the overall calm of the night. Aileen's heart went out to the sailors aboard the ship. Though she was a creature of the sea, she held no malice towards those who sailed upon its surface. Indeed, part of her duty as a guardian extended to these brave souls who ventured out onto the vast, unpredictable waters. With renewed purpose, Aileen's song began anew. This time, her voice carried a different quality, still soothing, but with an underlying strength and direction. The notes seemed to pierce through the fog, creating a sonic pathway through the mist. As she sang, Aileen focused her energy on calming the turbulent waters surrounding the struggling ship. Her melody spoke to the waves, urging them to gentleness, smoothing out the choppy surface. Slowly but surely, the area of calm that surrounded the bay began to extend outward, reaching towards the distressed vessel. The Selkie's voice grew stronger, infused with an ancient power that humans could scarcely comprehend. It was the voice of the sea itself, calling out to guide those lost in the mist. The song wove through the air, a lifeline of sound that stretched out across the water. On board the ship, the sailors found themselves drawn to the starboard side, straining their ears to catch the faint melody that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The captain, a weathered man with years of experience, felt a sense of hope rise in his chest. Though he couldn't explain it, he knew that this mysterious song was their salvation. Following the guidance of Aileen's voice, the captain adjusted the ship's course. The vessel slowly turned, aligning itself with the invisible path laid out by the Selkie's song. As it did so, the fog seemed to part ever so slightly, offering brief glimpses of stars that helped confirm their new heading. Eileen watched from her rocky perch as the ship gradually made its way toward safer waters. Her song never faltered, providing a constant beacon for the sailors to follow. She poured all her concentration into maintaining the channel of calm water that now stretched from the bay to the ship, creating a safe passage through the otherwise treacherous night sea. As the vessel drew closer to the bay, Aileen's song took on a more welcoming tone. It spoke of shelter and rest, of the safety that awaited in the calm waters near the shore. The sailors, though they couldn't understand the words, felt their hearts lift with each passing moment. Finally, after what seemed like hours, but could have been mere minutes, for time moved strangely in the realm of Selkie magic. The ship entered the sheltered waters of the bay. As it did so, the last of the turbulent waves smoothed out, and the fog lifted just enough to reveal the twinkling lights of Dunbrae village in the distance. A collective sigh of relief could almost be heard from the ship as it found safe anchor. The immediate danger had passed, guided by the mysterious, beautiful song that still floated on the night air. Eileen's voice softened now, her song returning to the gentle lullaby it had been before. She watched with satisfaction as the ship settled in for the night, its crew no doubt marveling at their fortunate escape from the dangerous fog. Though the sailors would never know the true source of their salvation, Eileen was content in the knowledge that she had fulfilled her duty. She had been a guardian not just to the creatures of the sea this night, but to those who sailed upon its surface as well. As the excitement of the rescue faded, peace once again settled over the bay. Eileen's song continued, a soothing presence in the night, watching over all within her domain. The Selkie's vigil would continue until dawn, her voice a constant, comforting presence in the darkness, a reminder of the protection and guidance that always existed for those who knew how to listen to the song of the sea. As the rescued ship settled safely in the bay, Eileen's song took on a more reflective tone. The excitement of the moment faded, replaced by a gentle melody that seemed to resonate with the very essence of the sea itself. In this peaceful lull, Eileen's mind drifted to memories of her long life beneath the waves. Her voice, still carrying softly across the water, began to weave tales of the deep, stories known only to those who had lived in the heart of the ocean. Though no human ear could understand the words, the emotion in her song was palpable, filled with the joy, wonder, and sometimes melancholy of a life lived between two worlds. Eileen recalled her earliest memories when she was but a young Selkie pup, learning the ways of both land and sea. She remembered the first time she shed her seal skin, the strange sensation of standing on two legs, and the exhilaration of her first dive back into the embracing waters. Her song spoke of the patient guidance of her elders, teaching her the ancient ways of their kind. As her melody flowed, Eileen's mind wandered to the countless wonders she had witnessed in the depths. She thought of vast kelp forests swaying in underwater currents, their fronds reaching up towards the distant surface like a submerged cathedral. Her voice painted pictures of bioluminescent creatures, their bodies creating constellations in the midnight zones of the ocean. The Selkie's song turned to memories of great migrations she had joined. Enormous pods of whales traversing the globe, their haunting songs echoing through the deep. These majestic creatures had shared their ancient wisdom with her, speaking of ocean paths that had remained unchanged for millennia. Eileen's voice softened as she recalled quieter moments, resting in hidden sea caves, their walls adorned with shimmering mother of pearl, or floating peacefully in warm, tropical waters under a canopy of stars. Her song spoke of the profound silence found in the ocean's deepest trenches, a stillness so complete it seemed to touch the soul. As the night wore on, Eileen's memories turned to the changes she had witnessed over her long life. Her melody carried notes of sadness as she thought of once thriving reefs now struggling, of waters warming beyond their natural rhythms. But there was hope too in her song, a resilient spirit that spoke of the sea's enduring power to adapt and survive. Throughout her reverie, Eileen maintained her vigil over the bay. Her voice, though lost in memories, never lost its power to soothe and protect. The rescued sailors on the anchored ship found themselves drifting into peaceful slumber, their dreams filled with inexplicable but comforting visions of life beneath the waves. As the moon continued its arc across the sky, Eileen's song shifted once more, returning to the present. She thought of the timeless nature of her existence, how she was both ancient and ever young, a constant presence in an ever-changing world. Her melody spoke of the cyclic nature of life in the sea, of death and rebirth, of tides that eternally ebbed and flowed. In this moment, suspended between memory and present, Eileen felt a deep connection to every drop of water in the vast oceans. Her song resonated with the collective memory of all sea life, from the smallest plankton to the mightiest leviathan. She was both herself and a part of something far greater, a living embodiment of the sea's endless story. As the first faint hints of dawn began to color the eastern sky, Eileen's song gently returned to its original refrain. The night of memories had reinforced her sense of purpose, reminding her of the vital role she played as a guardian of the sea. Her voice, clear and strong, despite the hours of singing, continued to weave its spell over the peaceful bay. The Selkie's memories, shared through her ethereal song, had become a part of the night itself, though none who heard her would remember the specific tales. They would carry with them a deeper sense of the ocean's magic, its mysteries, and its vital importance to all life. And Eileen, restored and reaffirmed by her journey through time, continued her nightly vigil, her voice a constant, comforting presence in the endless dance of the tides. As the night deepened and Eileen's song continued its gentle refrain, the Selkie felt drawn to move from her perch on the rocks. With fluid grace, she slipped into the cool waters of the bay, her form seamlessly transitioning between woman and seal. She swam with effortless ease, her sleek body cutting through the water without a sound. Eileen's destination was a small, hidden cove she had known for centuries. It was a place of particular beauty and tranquility, shielded from the open sea by high cliffs and accessible only to those who knew its secrets. As she approached, her song never faltered, carried now through the water as much as through the air. The entrance to the cove was narrow, barely visible in the moonlight. Eileen navigated it with practiced ease, emerging into a sheltered pool of calm water. Here, the cliffs formed a near-perfect circle, creating an intimate amphitheater of stone and sea. The water was crystal clear, reflecting the star-studded sky above like a perfect mirror. Eileen glided to the center of the cove, where a smooth, flat rock broke the surface of the water. It was here that she chose to rest, hauling her seal-like form onto the stone, and once again, taking on her human aspect, she sat cross-legged on the rock, her long hair dripping with seawater, rivulets running down her skin like liquid moonlight. In this secluded spot, Eileen's song took on a more personal tone. It was here, away from watchful eyes, that she allowed herself to fully express the depth of her connection to the sea. Her voice rose and fell, like the tides themselves, echoing off the cliff walls and creating a symphony of sound that seemed to come from everywhere at once. The moonlight played across the surface of the water, creating dancing patterns that moved in time with Eileen's melody. It was as if the very light itself was responding to her song, weaving a visual accompaniment to her auditory performance. Small fish, attracted by the Selkie's presence, gathered in the clear water around her rock, their scales glinting like submerged stars. As Eileen sang, she reflected on the timeless nature of this place. This cove had remained largely unchanged for millennia, a constant in a world of flux. She had come here countless times over the centuries, in times of both joy and sorrow. The cove had been a witness to her life, a confidant that held the echoes of songs long past. Her current melody spoke of this deep connection, of the comfort found in returning to a place that knew her so well. It was a song of homecoming, of finding oneself in the familiar embrace of ancient stone and eternal sea. The cliffs seemed to lean in closer, as if listening intently to her every note. As the night wore on, Eileen's song began to intertwine with the natural sounds of the cove, the gentle lapping of water against rock, the distant cry of a night bird, the whisper of wind through cliff-prop grasses. It was a duet between Selkie and nature, a harmonious blend of voice and environment. The moon, now high in the sky, cast its full light into the cove, turning the water to liquid silver. Eileen's skin seemed to glow in the ethereal light, her form blurring the lines between flesh and moonbeam. Her song took on an almost otherworldly quality, as if she were giving voice to the moon itself. In this moment of perfect harmony, Eileen felt a profound sense of peace. Here, in her moonlit cove, she was most fully herself, neither fully of the land nor of the sea, but a magical being bridging both worlds. Her song reflected this duality, at once familiar and mysterious, earthly and celestial. As the hours passed, Aileen's voice never tired. Her song continued, a constant presence in the night, as soothing and essential as the rhythm of the waves. The cove held her voice, amplifying it and sending it back to her in endless, gentle echoes. Eventually, as the position of the moon signaled the approaching dawn, Aileen's song began to soften. She knew her time in the cove was coming to an end for this night, with a final, lingering melody that spoke of farewell and the promise of return. She slipped back into the water. As she swam out of the cove, Eileen carried with her the renewed sense of purpose and belonging that this special place always instilled in her. The memory of the moonlit cove would sustain her, a secret wellspring of strength and serenity to draw upon in the nights to come. Returning to her vigil over the larger bay, Aileen's song once again took on its protective tone, but now it carried with it a hint of the deep peace she had found in her hidden sanctuary, a gift she shared with all who could hear her voice in the remaining hours of the night. As Aileen returned from her moonlit cove, settling once again on her familiar perch, overlooking the bay, a subtle change came over the night air. A gentle breeze began to stir, carrying with it the scents and secrets of distant shores. The Selkie paused in her song, her keen senses alert to this new presence in her domain. The wind, at first a mere whisper, gradually grew in strength, weaving through the mist that still clung to the water's surface. It danced around Aileen, playfully lifting strands of her long hair and carrying droplets of sea spray to mingle with the air. The Selkie closed her eyes, allowing herself to fully experience this ethereal visitor. As if responding to an unspoken invitation, Aileen's voice rose once more, but this time it was different. Her song now intertwined with the wind, creating a duet of nature that spoke of vast oceans and distant lands. The breeze seemed to carry her melody further than ever before, spreading it across the bay and beyond to places she could only imagine. The wind, for its part, brought its own music to join with Aileen's voice. It whistled softly through the rocks, created gentle percussion as it rustled through the coastal grasses, and hummed as it skimmed across the water's surface. Together, wind and Selkie wove a tapestry of sound that was at once soothing and invigorating, a lullaby infused with the spirit of adventure. As their collaboration continued, Eileen felt as if the wind was sharing stories from its travels. Her song took on nuances of distant melodies, the rhythmic chants of tropical islands, the whispered secrets of deep forest glades. The Selkie's voice became a conduit for these far-off tales, translating them into a language that all creatures of the bay could understand and appreciate. The marine life responded to this new symphony, Schools of fish swam in graceful patterns, as if dancing to the wind-born melody. Seabirds, normally settled for the night, took to the air in lazy circles, carried aloft by the musical currents. Even the ancient whale, deep in the bay, rose closer to the surface, its massive form moving in slow, appreciative rolls. On the shore, the wind's influence spread to the sleeping village of Dunbray. It carried Aileen's song to the cottages, slipping through open windows and under doors. The villagers, deep in their slumber, found their dreams touched by visions of the sea, peaceful waves, playful dolphins, and the distant figure of a woman singing on a moonlit shore. As the night wore on, the collaboration between Aileen and the wind grew more intricate. The breeze would swell, carrying her voice to new heights, then softly recede, allowing her melody to shine alone. It was a dance of give and take, of leading and following, a perfect harmony of two natural forces. The wind brought more than just sound to join Aileen's song. It carried scents that evoked memories and emotions. The sharp tang of salt from distant seas, the sweet perfume of tropical flowers, the crisp cleanness of mountain snow. These olfactory notes added depth to their musical creation, engaging all the senses in a full, immersive experience. In this magical interlude, Aileen felt her awareness expand beyond the confines of the bay. Through her connection with the wind, she could almost sense the vast expanses of the world's oceans, the ebb and flow of tides on distant shores, the eternal dance of wind and wave that shaped the face of the earth. Her song reflected this expanded consciousness, growing richer and more complex with each passing moment. As dawn approached, the wind began to gentle, its wild energy settling into a soft, constant presence. Aileen's voice, too, returned to its original soothing tones, but the memory of their duet lingered in the air, a subtle magic that had transformed the night. The Selkie's song now carried whispers of the wind within it, a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things, of the vast world that existed beyond the bay. It spoke of the endless cycle of the elements, of journeys begun and completed, of the eternal nature of the sea and sky. As the first light of dawn began to paint the eastern sky, Aileen's voice softened to a gentle murmur. The wind, her night's companion, offered a final caress before fading into the growing light. The Selkie's song, enriched by this encounter, continued its vigilant watch over the bay, now carrying within it the echoes of distant shores and the promise of new horizons. The night of wind and song had been a gift, a magical interlude that would live long in the memory of all who experienced it. And for Aileen, it was a reminder of the endless wonders that each night could bring, as she continued her eternal vigil as guardian of the sea. As the night began to yield to the first whispers of dawn, a subtle shift occurred in the atmosphere surrounding Dunbray Bay. Aileen, ever attuned to the rhythms of nature, sensed the change in her bones. Her song, which had woven its spell throughout the long hours of darkness, began to transform once more, reflecting the transition from night to day. The sky to the east started to lighten imperceptibly, the inky blackness softening to a deep indigo. Stars that had shone brightly all night began to fade, one by one, like candles gently extinguished. Eileen's voice, still strong and clear, despite the hours of singing, took on a quality that spoke of farewell to the night and a greeting to the coming day. Her melody now carried notes of anticipation, a gentle awakening that resonated with the stirring world around her. In the waters of the bay, fish that had been dormant through the night began to stir, their scales catching the first faint glimmers of light. Seabirds, roosting on rocky outcrops, ruffled their feathers and began to call softly to one another, their voices a counterpoint to Aileen's song. On the distant shore, the village of Dunbray remained quiet, but signs of the approaching day began to appear. A thin wisp of smoke rose from a chimney, evidence of an early riser stoking a fire. A dog barked once, twice, then fell silent, as if realizing it was still too early to disturb the peace. Eileen's song embraced all of these subtle changes, weaving them into her melody. Her voice rose and fell like gentle waves, guiding the transition from night to day with the same care she had shown in calming the turbulent seas earlier in the night. It was a lullaby in reverse, slowly rousing the world from its slumber rather than easing it into sleep. As the light grew stronger, colors began to seep back into the world. The gray mist that had shrouded the bay took on a pinkish hue, reflecting the blush of the dawn sky. Aileen's hair, still damp from her midnight swim, her skin, pale in the moonlight, now glowed with a warm radiance. The Selkie's song spoke of this gradual awakening, of the beauty found in these liminal moments between night and day. Her voice painted pictures of dew-kissed grass, of flowers slowly unfurling their petals to greet the sun, of the mist rising from the land in delicate tendrils. It was a celebration of renewal, of the eternal cycle of endings and beginnings. As dawn approached, Aileen felt a bittersweet sensation in her heart. Soon, she would need to return to the sea to shed her human form and once again don her seal skin. The horizon began to glow with a fierce orange light, the sun not yet visible, but its presence unmistakable. Eileen's voice rose in counterpoint, a crescendo that matched the building anticipation in the air. Her song now held notes of joy and exultation, heralding the arrival of a new day with all its possibilities. Seabirds took to the air, their wings catching the early light as they swooped and dove over the bay. The surface of the water came alive with ripples and splashes as fish jumped to catch the first insects of the day. On the shore, small animals emerged from their burrows, whiskers twitching as they tested the morning air. In the village, more signs of life began to appear. Shutters were thrown open, letting in the fresh morning air. The clatter of pots and pans could be faintly heard as the fishermen's wives began to prepare for the day ahead. Soon, the men would make their way down to the harbor, ready to set out for the day's catch. Eileen's song gentled now, becoming softer as the need for her protective presence lessened. Her voice took on a quality of benediction, blessing the bay and all its inhabitants as they awakened to the new day. She sang of hope and new beginnings, of the promise held in each dawning day. As the first sliver of the sun's disk appeared on the horizon, painting the sky in brilliant golds and pinks, Aileen's song reached its conclusion. Her voice, still strong and pure, offered a final, lingering note that seemed to hang in the air, even after she had fallen silent. The Selkie sat for a moment longer on her rocky perch, bathed in the light of the new day. She watched as the sun rose fully above the horizon, its warm rays chasing away the last remnants of night. With a heart full of contentment and a deep sense of fulfillment, Aileen prepared for her return to the sea, knowing that when night fell again, she would once more take up her vigil as the guardian of Dunbray Bay. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, bathing Dunbray Bay in the full light of dawn, Aileen knew it was time for her to return to her other world beneath the waves. The night's vigil was complete. Her song had guided both sea and shore safely through the darkness, and now the day belonged to the world of humans. With a grace born of countless years, Aileen rose from her perch on the rocks. Her long hair, now dry from the night air, flowed around her like a cloak. She stood for a moment, silhouetted against the rising sun, a figure of myth and legend come to life in the golden morning light. Aileen's gaze swept across the bay one last time, taking in the peaceful scene she helped to create and protect. The rescued ship bobbed gently at anchor, its crew still slumbering, unaware of the magical guardian who had ensured their safety. In the village, smoke now rose from many chimneys as the inhabitants began their day, their dreams touched by the echoes of a song they would not consciously remember. With a soft sigh that carried both contentment and a touch of wistfulness, Aileen began to make her way down the rocks towards the water's edge. Her movements were fluid and sure, each step a dance between her human and seal natures. As she walked, she hummed softly, a gentle melody that seemed to thank the night for its magic and greet the day with hope. At the water's edge, Aileen paused. She closed her eyes, feeling the cool lap of waves against her feet, the warmth of the sun on her face, the caress of the morning breeze through her hair. In this moment, she was a bridge between two worlds, belonging fully to neither land nor sea, but cherishing both. Slowly, reverently, Aileen reached for her sealskin, which she had kept hidden safely among the rocks. The magical pelt shimmered in the morning light, its sleek surface reflecting the colors of both sea and sky. As she held it, Aileen felt the pull of her ocean home, the call of the depths that was as much a part of her as her human heart. With practiced ease, Aileen wrapped the sealskin around her shoulders. As she did so, her form began to change. Her legs merged into a powerful tail, her arms transformed into flippers, and her features shifted into the whiskered face of a seal. The transformation was quick and seamless, a magical metamorphosis that bridged the gap between legend and reality. Now in her seal form, Aileen slipped into the water with barely a ripple. The cool embrace of the sea welcomed her, and she felt a surge of joy as she submerged fully into her underwater realm. With powerful strokes of her tail, she dove deeper, leaving the world of air and sunlight behind. As she swam, Aileen's keen senses took in the vibrant life of the ocean. Schools of fish darted around her, their scales flashing in the filtered sunlight. Strands of kelp swayed in the currents, creating an underwater forest teeming with life. In the distance, she could hear the songs of whales, their deep voices carrying for miles through the water. Eileen's heart was full as she journeyed through her ocean home. The night's vigil had renewed her spirit, reminding her of the vital role she played in maintaining the harmony between land and sea. Though she would sleep through much of the day in the cool depths, her dreams would be filled with memories of moonlight on water, of starry skies, and of the healing power of her song. As she swam further from shore, Eileen sent out a final, soundless song, a promise to return when twilight fell, to once again take up her watch over Dunbray Bay. Her melody, though inaudible to human ears, resonated through the water, touching the hearts of all sea creatures and leaving a lingering sense of peace and protection in its wake. With a final, powerful stroke of her tail, Aileen dove deep into her favorite undersea grotto. Here, surrounded by the gentle glow of bioluminescent creatures and the soft sway of anemones, she would rest until the sun began its descent and the night once again called for her song. As Eileen settled into her watery bower, the surface world continued its daily rhythm. Fishing boats set out from Dunbray Harbor, children played on the beach, and life went on, unaware of the magical guardian who watched over them all. But in the depths of every heart that had heard her song, a sense of peace and wonder remained, a gift from the Selkie who bridged the worlds of land and sea with her eternal lullaby. And so, as it had for countless years, and would for countless more, the cycle continued. Day would become night, and Eileen would return to her vigil, her song a constant, comforting presence in the eternal dance of moon, tide, and sea. Thank you for allowing Fireside Fables to be a part of your journey tonight. We hope our story has gently guided you to the gates of dreamland, wrapping you in the comfort of tales told by the fireside's warm glow. For those of you who might still be seeking the embrace of sleep, stay with us a little longer. A calm, meditative piece will follow shortly, designed to ease you into a restful slumber under the watchful care of the night's peaceful embrace. Remember, the path to dreamland is always here, lit by the soft light of our fireside tales. May you find tranquility, peace, and the sweetest of dreams. Until next time, good night, and let the gentle rhythm of the night cradle you to sleep. Close your eyes and settle into a comfortable position. Whether you're lying down or seated, allow your body to relax completely. Take a deep breath in, filling your lungs with air, and then gently exhale, releasing all the tension from your body. This meditation will guide you into a deep, restful sleep. As you follow along, let my words be the gentle waves that guide you into the peaceful embrace of slumber. Begin by focusing on your breath. Feel the natural rhythm of your inhale and exhale. With every breath, imagine a wave of relaxation sweeping over your body. Starting from the top of your head, let this wave of calm flow down to your toes, relaxing each part of your body one by one. Now, bring your attention to your mind. Visualize your thoughts like leaves floating on a gentle stream, drifting further away with each breath. There's nothing for you to do right now, nowhere you need to be, except right here in this moment of peace. As your body sinks deeper into relaxation, imagine a soft, warm light enveloping you. This light brings with it a deep sense of calm, filling every corner of your being. With each breath, this light grows brighter, your body feeling lighter. It's now time to let go completely. Your serene place is here to cradle you into deep sleep. With every breath, feel yourself drifting further into this haven of peace. You are safe, you are loved, and you are embraced by the gentle arms of sleep. As my voice fades away, let the calmness and peace you feel guide you into a deep, restful sleep. Your body knows what it needs, and it's time to surrender to the soothing rhythm of your breath, to the quiet of your mind, and to the warmth of your peaceful place. Release all hold on consciousness and allow yourself to sink into the depths of sleep. Here, in this space, healing and rejuvenation happen effortlessly. Let go and let sleep envelop you in its comforting embrace.